You might be waking up right now, and your body is already telling you. In quiet moments, in the hours between sleep and waking, in dreams that suddenly feel more like messages than random films, there are small signals that point toward an opening at the center of perception, the pineal, the so-called third eye. These five signs are subtle. They do not shout. They arrive as consistent, repeatable nudges. If you pay attention, you may recognize them and learn to tend them with reverence, safety, and intention. Before we begin, if any of what I describe resonates, I want you to pause and observe for a few days. Notice patterns rather than single incidents. And if you feel comfortable, after this short intro, tell me in the comments, which sign do you already recognize in your life? That little exchange helps us all learn from each other's experience. First, a quick word about what we mean when we speak of the pineal gland, or the third eye. The pineal is a small endocrine structure tucked deep in the brain. It plays a well-established role in regulating sleep through the hormone melatonin. Beyond that, many traditions, from ancient Egypt to Himalayan yogis, saw it as a subtle doorway to inner vision. Some modern researchers suggest hypotheses about other compounds and inner experiences possibly linked to pineal function. These are interesting and worthy of study, but they remain debated and far from settled. So throughout this video, I'll speak with curiosity and caution. I'll say what is known, and when we move into theory or ancestral testimony, I'll make that clear. No guarantees, only invitations to notice and to practice safely. Sign 1. Dream intensification. Dreams get louder, more symbolic, and sometimes lucid. One of the most common early signs people report is a change in the dream landscape. Dreams feel more vivid, saturated with color and meaning. You wake up with a strong impression or a clear image that lingers. Sometimes you become lucid, aware that you're dreaming, more often than before. For some, the dream remembers itself, the way a photograph records light. For others, dreams arrive as short, precise warnings or guidance. How it feels? You may sleep and then wake with a phrase or image still echoing. You may have recurring dream motifs, water, doors, and animal, appearing with increasing clarity. You may find that after a dream, you know something without having logically acquired that knowledge. That sense of inner knowing is not mystical proof of anything, but it's a reliable subjective marker that many seekers report when inner perception shifts. Why this might link to the pineal? The pineal's role in sleep and circadian rhythms makes it a plausible correlate to changes in dream life. Because it helps regulate cycles of neurochemistry connected to sleep stages, subtle shifts in pineal function, or in how you approach sleep, with intention, ritual, reduced light, altered herbal supports, can change dream architecture. Some ancestral lineages used gentle herbs to enhance dream recall or to encourage lucid dreaming as part of their dream work. Artemisia, often called mugwort by herbalists, has a long history as a plant associated with nocturnal vision and dream clarity in many cultures. Lavender is more calming and supports sleep quality, which can indirectly improve dream recall and vividness. A gentle practice you can try tonight. Keep a small notebook and a pen by your bed. Before sleep, set the intention, I remember my dreams. When you awaken, even if only for a moment, write down one image, one feeling, one word. Do this for a week and notice the pattern. If you decide to incorporate a mild herbal support, choose a light, non-stimulating infusion, lavender tea or a low-dose chamomile, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Avoid stronger herbs like some Artemisia species if you are pregnant, nursing, or on medications that interact with certain botanicals. Always consult a healthcare provider when in doubt. Want to test this now? Make a conscious plan to record your next dream and watch how habit makes the dreamscapes richer. Sign 2. Heightened intuition and synchronicities. Your gut feels clearer. Coincidences feel like breadcrumbs. Another early marker is an uptick in intuition, the quiet knowing that nudges you before you have all the facts, and an increase in meaningful coincidences. You hear the name of a person you were just thinking about, you find a passage that answers a private question, or a chance encounter delivers a small, uncanny piece of guidance. These are sometimes called synchronicities, and they often accompany a sense that perception is stretching beyond ordinary patterns. How it feels? Decisions that used to be slow suddenly have a clarity. You might finish a sentence in your head and then read it on someone else's post minutes later. Or you might receive a sudden, clear impression to make a call, check a door, or choose another route home, and later see why you were guided that way. Historical and cultural texture. Many shamanic and indigenous traditions teach that attention to signs, coupled with disciplined practice like fasting, focused prayer, or dream work, sharpens the capacity to notice guidance. Healers would interpret small coincidences as signals to act, though always in context and with humility. Modern seekers translate those practices into pattern tracking, treating intuition as a kind of data stream that can be trained. A simple exercise to test your intuition. Over 3 days, select a small yes-no question. Should I take a different route today? Should I send that message? And before you decide, sit quietly for 1 minute, breathe slowly, and note the first impulse. Record the outcome to see if patterns emerge. To support this state, some people drink a calming herbal infusion, lemongrass or a mild chamomile blend, before a quiet reflective practice. These are soothing supports, not a replacement for discernment. If you're on medications or pregnant, ask a professional before trying new herbs. Want to test this now? Close your eyes for 60 seconds and notice the first thought that arises about a decision you need to make. No analysis, just notice. Sign 3. Hypnagogic imagery and subtle sensory shifts. Seeing halos, sparks, or images at the edge of sleep. The hypnagogic state, the threshold between wakefulness and sleep, is a fertile ground for subtle visions. Many people describe seeing brief geometric patterns, flashes of light, or heightened color sensitivity during that half-awake moment. Others notice brighter halos around lamps, deeper saturation of color in nature, or a new sensitivity to light and pattern. These phenomena can be startling, but they are often harmless and transient. How it feels? You may be lying down, eyes closed, and an image forms, brief and luminous, before full sleep takes hold. Or you might be walking outside and notice colors seeming unusually vivid or edged with light. These sensory subtleties can also show up as more intense taste or smell for a short period. Cultural texture and herbs. In several traditions, plants like blue lotus or delicate flower essences were used in ritual contexts to invite lucid states at the edge of sleep. Modern herbalists sometimes reference blue lotus for its sedative, dream-enhancing reputation, but be careful. Blue lotus can be potent and interacts with certain medications. Its legal status varies by country, and its effects are not fully researched. It's best experienced within a respectful, legal, and carefully guided framework if you choose to explore it at all. Lavender and mild chamomile are much gentler supports for creating a restful environment that invites hypnagogic imagery. A brief in-moment test. Tonight, as you lie down, place your attention on the shift between wakefulness and sleep. After 3 breath cycles, notice whether images, lights, or patterns appear. Label them simply: color, shape, feeling, and then let them pass. Repeat this exercise 3 nights in a row and notice if the threshold becomes clearer. If any experience provokes anxiety, stop the practice and ground yourself with walking, water, or a talk with a friend. Safety note: if you have a history of seizures, night terrors, or certain psychiatric conditions, consult a healthcare provider before deliberately inducing hypnagogic states. Sign 4. Altered time perception and deep presence. Time stretches, presence deepens in meditation and everyday life. As internal awareness refines, many seekers report changes in the felt sense of time. Minutes lengthen or collapse. You may sit for a short meditation and emerge feeling you were elsewhere for an hour. Or you may find long stretches of your day moving with quiet, unforced attention. This isn't disorientation, it's a shift in how attention organizes experience. It often comes with a deepening of presence, a quieter mind, and an increased capacity to inhabit the moment. How it feels? Meditations that once felt restless become deep and unbroken. Mundane activities, making tea, washing dishes, may become luminous, imbued with a slow, savoring quality. You notice less pull toward distraction and a stronger anchor in whatever you're doing. Practices and gentle herbal supports, breathwork, simple concentration practices, and an evening ritual of reduced screen time all support this sign. A 10-minute presence exercise can be very revealing. Set a timer for 10 minutes, sit comfortably, and place one hand on your heart. Breathe slowly and count to 4 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale. When thoughts wander, gently return to the breath. Over time, these short practices cultivate the internal stillness that many interpret as the opening of a deeper lens. Mild nervine herbs such as lemongrass, lemon balm, or chamomile support relaxation and the nervous system without overly sedating. Again, if you are pregnant, nursing, or on medication, check with a healthcare professional. A 60-second test for time perception. During your next break, set a timer for 60 seconds and close your eyes. Hold attention on a single sensation, the weight of your body, the breath at the nostrils. When the timer rings, notice how long that felt. Repeat over several days to observe shifts. These micro-practices, compounded over weeks, often reveal a steady expansion of attentional capacity. Sign 5. Emotional and energetic shifts. Softer reactivity, greater compassion, and new priorities. The 5th sign shows up in the heart more than in the eyes. People report subtle shifts in emotional reactivity. Small irritations no longer trigger the same upset. Petty dramas shrink. There is a new inclination toward compassion and an alertness to energetic environments. You might notice a tendency to seek quieter company, to prefer depth over breadth in relationships, or to feel more porous in crowds. How it feels? You may feel unusually tender when hearing someone's story. You might take a step back from habitual consumption, from endless scrolling, or from conversations that leave you depleted. There can also be increased sensitivity. Louder places feel overwhelming, and you may need more time to integrate intense emotional states. Context and caution. These shifts often accompany meaningful inner work, or after intense experiences with plant medicines in ceremonial contexts. I must emphasize clearly, powerful plant medicines such as ayahuasca are not casual tools. They are sacred and in many places controlled by law. They can catalyze profound emotional shifts, but also carry risks, physically, mentally, legally, and should only be encountered in full ceremonial, legal, and supervised settings with experienced facilitators. Do not attempt DIY preparations or underground retreats without careful vetting and medical clearance. Grounding practices you can do today. Daily journaling focused on values. Write 3 things you felt grateful for and 1 small choice you made from compassion. Add a brief grounding routine after social events. 3 slow breaths, feeling the soles of your feet, drinking a glass of water. If you sense an overwhelming energetic shift, seek community support, trusted friends, a counselor, or a trained facilitator, and avoid making large life decisions in the immediate aftermath of a dramatic inner experience. Herbal allies that soothe emotional reactivity include lemon balm or a gentle lavender infusion, but remember to check contraindications if you are pregnant or on medication. Safety, legal, and medical notes. Tending the subtle body responsibly. As you explore any of these signs, please hold some essential cautions close. First, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, avoid certain herbs that are uterine stimulants or whose safety during pregnancy is not established. This includes some Artemisia species, mugwort, and other stronger botanicals often associated with dream work. Second, if you are on psychiatric medication, blood thinners, or other regular prescriptions, consult your prescribing clinician before introducing new herbs or altering sleep patterns. Some botanicals and plant compounds can interact with pharmaceuticals. Third, do not prepare or ingest controlled ceremonial medicines such as ayahuasca, DMT blends, or other powerful entheogens outside of legal and supervised ceremonial contexts. If such pathways interest you, research reputable, legal tradition-based retreats, seek medical screening, and choose ceremonials with experienced, credentialed facilitators. These are not recreational adventures. They are medicine held by lineages and must be approached with respect and caution. Fourth, if you have a history of certain psychiatric conditions, especially psychosis, bipolar disorder, or severe anxiety, work with a mental health professional before exploring practices that significantly alter perception. Many of the signs I describe are benign and gradual, but they can feel destabilizing if you are already vulnerable. Practical ritual framework: intention, environment, frequency. Across traditions, 3 elements consistently amplify subtle shift safely: clear intention, a controlled environment, and appropriate frequency. For example, with dream work, you set a simple intention before sleep and keep a safe, quiet space. For presence practices, reduce stimulating inputs, choose a comfortable posture, and practice regularly. 5 to 10 minutes daily is far more effective than a single long session. If you choose to explore herbal supports, keep them mild, legal, and intermittent. Gentle nightly infusions for a week, followed by a pause to observe changes, rather than a constant, escalating regimen. A short, practical evening ritual you can adopt. Dim the lights an hour before bed, put away screens, boil water for a small cup of lavender or chamomile, sit quietly with the cup for 5 minutes while setting one intention: eye open to clarity with safety. Sip slowly, breathe deeply, and before sleeping, write one dream intention in your bedside journal. Do this for 7 nights and notice the difference in dream recall and in your approach to sleep. Micro exercises to keep attention sharp. Do each for 1 week and observe. 1. Dream journal, 3 lines every morning. 2. Intuition tracker. Note 1 small intuition per day and whether it was accurate. 3. Hypnagogic awareness, 3 nights of threshold observation. 4. 10-minute presence meditation daily. 5. Compassion journal. Note 1 act of compassion you took or witnessed each day. Small, consistent practices reveal patterns faster than sporadic rituals. What to do if experiences feel overwhelming: grounding and integration. Sometimes a shift accelerates faster than integration allows. If you begin to feel anxiety, dissociation, or emotional flood, prioritize grounding. Simple acts: walking barefoot, drinking water, speaking with a trusted friend, practicing breathwork, eating nourishing food, help return you to baseline. If experiences persistently unsettle you, seek professional support: a therapist, a somatic practitioner, or a spiritual counselor trained in integration work. Community and skilled guides are invaluable. You do not need to navigate intense change alone. A short story to illustrate how small approaches matter. I remember a seeker I once met who thought she needed dramatic ritual to open her third eye. She traveled to a distant retreat, hungry for visions, and returned overwhelmed. Months later, when she began a slow practice, daily 5-minute presences, a dream journal, and a weekly herbal bath with lavender, she found the same depth she had chased, but integrated with more peace and clearer discernment. That story is a gentle reminder. Slow, reverent practice often yields the most sustainable openings. Bringing herbs into your life. High-level guidance and respect. Herbs can be allies in this work. They are not magic keys. If you choose to use botanical supports, start small and informed. Lavender and chamomile are commonly safe for short-term evening use for most adults, though allergy checks are wise. Lemongrass and lemon balm are calming allies. Ginger can ground. Stronger plants, mugwort, blue lotus, and certain Artemisia relatives have traditional uses in dream work, but carry more contraindications and legal considerations. If you're curious about stronger plants, seek out reputable teachers, community elders, or licensed herbalists and prioritize safety screenings. Remember, being respectful of indigenous lineages and their plant knowledge matters. When traditions are referenced, treat them as living practices with histories and responsibilities. If you are engaging with lineage medicine, honor the frameworks, compensation, and protocols of the people who hold them. Avoid cultural appropriation by working with teachers who represent those traditions or who have been properly authorized to share practices. How long does awakening take? Patience and measurement. Awakening is usually gradual. These signs commonly appear over weeks or months, not in a single night. Keep a simple log, daily notes on dreams, intuition hits, sensory changes, time perception, and emotional shifts, and review it after a month. You will see whether the changes are momentary or part of a trend. Trends are meaningful. Single events are data points, not a full map. Common pitfalls to avoid: chasing, comparison, and hype. Don't chase dramatic experiences. Chasing often creates anxiety, which can block the very states you want. Avoid comparing your timeline to others. Some people have rapid, intense experiences, many do not. Respect your pace. Also, be skeptical of sensational claims. If someone promises guaranteed visions, miraculous cures, or material wealth through pineal activation, step back. Those assertions are outside the careful, respectful frame we're cultivating here. Closing reflections and a gentle invitation. The opening of deeper perception is a quiet revolution inside the self. It teaches patience, reverence for small signals, and the importance of safe, humble practice. If you've noticed one of these 5 signs, dream intensification, heightened intuition and synchronicities, hypnagogic mimicry and subtle sensory shifts, altered time perception and deep presence, or emotional and energetic shifts, honor it. Tend it with simple practices, journaling, short meditations, grounding routines, and, if you choose, gentle herbal supports with appropriate medical guidance. If this message spoke to you, I'd love to hear which sign you recognize most. Leave a comment below and share one brief detail of what you've noticed. Your experience helps others find their footing. For those who want to go deeper in a safe, structured way, I've created a guided resource that outlines step-by-step rituals, suggested gentle herbal protocols, integration practices, and a framework for working respectfully with lineage medicines, always with medical and legal caution. This guide is optional. It's for people ready to commit to their practice with care and responsibility. If you choose to explore it, you'll find clear instructions about frequency, contraindications, integration templates, and referrals to reputable practitioners and training pathways. The link is below in the description. Use it as a tool, not as a shortcut to experience. Finally, a short blessing for the path you're on. May your curiosity be steady, your practices gentle, and your discernment wise. May the signs you notice be teachers, not traps. And may you find community on the way. Others who listen, who integrate, and who hold the sanctity of inner work with reverence. Thank you for listening. If this resonated, leave a comment naming the sign that feels most true for you, and consider subscribing for more guided practices and careful explorations of inner perception. Go slowly, stay safe, be kind to yourself.